Guys, we are here at Replay Guitar Exchange with my buddy Cliffhanger here. Wait, where's Cliff? There he is.
Sorry, man.
We're here with my good friend Art, and me and Art go way back. We met at the gym many years ago, and his son Lou here, he wants to start playing guitar. So this video is going to be all about a buying guide for a beginner who's starting out. And of course, we are going to start out with an acoustic, right, Cliff?
Absolutely, it's the way to go.
Yeah. If you learn the basics on an acoustic, guys, that, like Cliff said, that's the way to go, and that's just going to make your journey so much easier and faster as you continue. So, let's find some acoustic guitars, guys.
Something like this right here would be a really, really good entry-level guitar.
And that's an Ibanez, right?
This is an Ibanez. It's got a cutaway here, so if you ever do want to play up in this kind of area, it's going to make that a lot easier, so you don't have to do some weird like hand claw motion. You know, it's just right up in there. This also has a built-in tuner, so I'm going to recommend something that does have that as a beginner.
All right, guys, so we're going to show Lou here the most important chord to learn for us metalheads. But Lou, you're not going to be playing metal. I know you're going to play some other stuff, and that's cool, but let's just show him the metal chord anyway. All right, dude, so this string is going to be open. That's your E string, and then these next two strings are going to be the second fret right here. And these last three strings are going to be open. So see if you can use these two fingers here, and then that for the second fret. But make sure it's
all of them are in the
yeah. There you go. Yep. Now try to strum.
I think.
Awesome. So, Lou, you can now play the beginning of pretty much every metal song. We're going back to the acoustic and why, another reason why it's so good to start out on acoustic.
Yeah, I recommend starting out on acoustic just because those phosphor bronze strings, they will help your fingers build calluses. They're going to be a little tough at first, but working through that, you really build calluses and finger strength and dexterity, and it's just going to help you to play guitar in the long run a lot easier.
Yeah, because a lot of people want to jump right into electric, which is fine. I mean, that's okay, but I always recommend people starting out on acoustic, and that's one of the primary reasons. You build up that strength, and then like 2 months later, you get electric, you're flying fingers.
Oh,
down,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. It's just going to make it so much easier in the long run. So that's why I always recommend that, And you don't have to get all the amps and everything.
That's true, too. It's a little bit lower on the cost, and we're going to go over some accessories in a little bit. So, guys, we've been looking at the wall of Ibanez's that's over there. You guys can't see, but another great beginner's guitar, or another great brand who makes a good beginner's guitar.
Fender,
yeah.
Absolutely. Fender's one of the most respected names. I think that, everybody knows Fender. They've been around forever. Yeah. And there's a reason for that. They make really good stuff. They make great beginner instruments as well. You don't have to break the bank getting a Fender or anything like that.
Right.
And looking at Ibanez, Fender, whatever you're looking at, after comfortability, one of the most important things I would say when looking for a guitar is, to me, in my opinion, aesthetic. You want to be inspired by your instrument. You want to pick up your instrument and want to play, want to write. And so looks is definitely a big part of guitar. You want to look cool doing it, right? So.
Yes, we must look cool doing it. But no, so the Ibanez, guys, we're not really harping on any brand. I know it sounds like it. You guys have a lot of different acoustics and brands, but just in my experience, the Ibanez, I kind of favor the Ibanez, but the Fenders also. Again, we're just looking for a solid beginner's acoustic guitar that's not going to break the bank, but it's also comfortable to play, because if you go with some cheap knockoff brand guitar, that's not going to be inspiring for all the reasons that we've talked about.
No, and here at Replay, we only carry stuff that's cool and good,
Exactly.
Stuff we know is going to play well.
All right, guys, so we have decided on an acoustic, and it's that one Lou's holding there, and I'll put the model on the screen of both guitars actually, and this one seems to play a little bit better and actually sounds a little bit nicer. They're both great guitars though, so let's talk about accessories now. So one of the accessories you want to get is a tuner, but because this guitar has electronics on it, we've got this capability, we can just tune it here. But if you didn't have that, you would definitely want to get a tuner. So Cliff, another accessory is definitely a Gigbag.
Gigbag, it's a must-have, absolutely a must-have. You're getting a nice guitar. You don't want it to get scratched. You want to be able to take it around. We have them here at Replay. We actually have our Replay bags.
Yeah, Replay bag. I like that, dude. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, marketing, right? Anyway, they are very, very nice, very well padded. I definitely always recommend getting one of these. You also have a lot of different compartment spacing in here, where you might not get that in a hard shell case, because hard shell cases don't have very much room for storage of anything. But this, you can put all your chords, books, picks, capos, whatever else you could fit in there. So definitely recommend it.
Yeah, so Gigbag is a must-have, especially with the beginner's guitar. So just keep it safe. If you're getting a more expensive guitar, obviously that's when you'd want to go to like a hard shell case. All right, so the next thing you want to get is an extra pair of strings. I mean, there's new strings on that guitar, right, Cliff?
Yeah, we put new strings on everything, but you never know when one's gonna break.
That's right.
So my recommendation is right here, down here. This right here. Diodario just came out with these. They're great. The phosphor bronze, light gauge. They're coated, so they're going to last a lot longer, which is really good here in Florida because very humid and you don't want your strings to corrode. This is the way to go.
Very humid here in Florida.
Yeah, this is the way to go for sure.
Now we have picks. You're definitely going to need picks, and of course you want a bag of picks because picks we lose as guitar players. You'll find half of your picks in the dryer. That's the magical place they just end up for whatever reason. So yeah, get picks. Now there are different size picks, and this is something you just want to play around with for a little while to see what suits you best, and that may change. Your preference may change over time, so be aware of that. You may start out with a lighter pick but want to go to heavier, or vice versa. There's no wrong or right answer, so again, you just have to go with what feels more natural to you. The next thing we need is a strap. So we're going to go put this on now, and this is good to have because if you're going to be, I mean, most of the time you're probably going to be sitting down anyway, playing guitar, learning your chords and stuff, but hey, sometimes you might want to stand up, and actually it's good to practice standing up because if you're playing a gig, you don't always want to be sitting down. You want to stand up and be more lively. Now, you're a beginner, you're not going to play a gig tomorrow, but you got to practice that. Another thing good to have is a music book. This is Guitar Method, and anything that's going to show you just the basic chords, because this is crucial to learn in the beginning. Songs are based on chords. So here's an example here. If you've got something easily written out, of course you've got music notation here, but if you got some easily written out, like here's how you play the F chord, where you place your fingers and all that good stuff. So you want something that's really easy to learn those basic chords and scales as well. Now another accessory, this is not a must-have, but it's something that Lou was asking about because he saw some videos where someone was using a capo. So capo, that's something else you can consider getting even as a beginner, because that's just going to allow you to play different chords and just get different sounds and that sort of thing. Or maybe if the song that you're learning is in like a flat or sharp key, well, using a capo is going to allow you to play that in a more comfortable finger position. So again, a capo is not a must-have, but it's just something good to have if you know that you're going to be serious about this and you want to progress with this. Now let's do a quick recap. I'm going to do a quick rundown of everything that you need to consider when purchasing your first guitar and the accessories that you need as well. But first, real quick, I want to give a tremendous thank you and shout out to everyone at Replay Guitar Exchange, and especially my good buddy Cliffhanger. You guys who have been subscribed to my channel for a while now, you've seen him in many of my videos. I was there recording because they let me come in their store and film from time to time. I usually do it about once a month, so they're generous enough to let me do that, and that way I can give you guys content that I would not be able to give you otherwise. So I proudly give them a shout out, and they also treat everyone like gold there. On that note, there's a link to their website in the description of this video. Yes, they are Tampa based. They are an independently owned music store. However, they do online orders as well. I do believe they offer free shipping, so double check that, but I'm pretty sure they do. And the next time you order gear, hey, consider ordering from Replay Guitar Exchange. Again, they're going to treat you right, and plus you're helping my channel when you do that, because again, they're cool enough to let me come in their store and film content, and they're just a bunch of cool, excellent people. All right, so here are the things to consider when buying your very first guitar. Then we'll quickly run through the accessories that I highly recommend you get with that first guitar. So first things first, don't cheap out. Don't buy some knockoff crappy guitar to start with. Sometimes people think, well, I'm a beginner, or if you're buying the guitar for someone else, you're like, well, they're a beginner. What if they give up 2 weeks down the road? Don't want to waste my money. Don't cheap out, because if you do that, if you buy a crap guitar, then it's not going to sound good, it's not going to play good, and you're going to be uninspired, and you're not going to progress. Now, the first thing you're going to need with that new guitar is a tuner. However, in this case, this particular guitar came with a tuner because we had the electronics there, which means you can plug the guitar in, you can play that through an amp or PA system, but there is a tuner there. And most guitars with those electronics, especially acoustics, most of them or many of them have that little built-in tuner. Next, you want to protect your guitar, and the best way to do that is by getting a Gigbag. Those are really nicely padded, and you saw the Replay brand Gigbag, and there's a lot of pockets there for like your strap and strings and picks and all that good stuff. Next, go ahead and pick up an extra set of strings. You're bound to break a string at some point, and even if you don't, you're going to have to change the strings at some point down the road. I know Cliff had a recommendation for acoustic strings that he gave earlier in the video. One thing I will say real quick is there are different string gauges. What I recommend is just going with the gauge that comes on your guitar, and most guitars will come with new strings. I know at Replay they send them out with new strings, so just go with that and get comfortable with that and see how that feels. If you want to change that later, you always can. You will need some picks, and I say picks in a plural sense because, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of your picks are going to end up in the dryer or like between the couch cushions or wherever. They just end up magically in all these different places. But go ahead and get picks. I know Cliff gave Lou several picks with the purchase here, which was really nice of him to do that. Picks are like strings. There are different sizes, okay? So don't overthink this right now. Realize that that may change as well as you progress as a guitar player. You may like thicker picks starting out or thinner picks, but you may change your mind and like something else down the road. So don't overthink that. Just get some picks, get the basics, and start practicing. Now, I recommend that you go ahead and get a guitar strap as well. And the reason being is you do want to practice some standing up. You might not want to do that right off the bat. I mean, when you're first learning those basic chords and scales and such, you know, get really comfortable with your instrument. But I do encourage you at some point when you get to a certain level to sometimes practice standing up as well. I think that's just better. It's going to make you better. And who knows, you may want to hit the stage soon anyway. So yeah, stand up and practice some when you get the basics down. You'll need the strap for that. Speaking of the basic chords and skills, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and pick up a chord book or some type of music book, and something that has a visual, like I showed you earlier, of the finger position for those chords. You see, those chords, those basic chords, that's the most important part. That's the first thing that you want to learn, and of course you want to venture out into learning some basic skills and so forth. So I know you can learn on YouTube. There's probably plenty of beginners guitar tutorials out there. I don't actually have a true beginners tutorial on my channel here, but there's plenty out there. But I know some of you, if you're like me, you like to have that physical book. I don't know, something about just going through those pages and reading it. I don't know, that just works for me, and maybe that works best for you. So if that's the case, I do recommend picking up some sort of music or some sort of chord book. Now, the last thing we mentioned was getting a capo. Now, this is an accessory that you don't necessarily need. I personally never play with one. I don't even think I own a capo. Looking around, no, don't have a capo, but I know a lot of guitarists do like to play with them because it just allows you to get some different sounds and it allows you to get better finger positioning on certain chords with certain keys. So if that's something that you think you might use, hey, go ahead and pick one up. So guys, I really hope this beginner's guide to buying your very first guitar was helpful. Please leave any comments or questions you have in the YouTube comments. And I've got links in the YouTube description, one being the link to Replay Guitar Exchange's website. Again, feel free to support them. They're cool enough to let me come into the store and film content for you guys there, so I'm very appreciative for that. So please support them. I've also got links in the description to my music, my guitar course, and a lot of other good stuff in there as well. Thank you again for supporting my channel. Please give this a like, make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you on the next video. Until then, keep it metal.